I'm Justin Martin, and here are the duck calls I'm carrying with me every day during duck season. When I'm thinking about a lanyard, like you can get them these days with as many drops and as many loops and as many things as you want. You see mine's pretty heavy, but I've got them in like strategic locations. I'll try to make it all make sense of how I consider it to make sense. In fact, first thing I'm gonna do is flip it around because I realize it's backwards. You know, at Duck Commander, we make a lot of specialty calls. So when you're in Louisiana, which is mainly where we hunt, Louisiana, South Arkansas, a little bit up into Central Arkansas, but not a whole lot, I have the calls of the most common ducks that I encounter, right? So the wood duck call, it's one that I love. I mean, I've had this particular wood duck call for probably, I don't even know, probably 10 years, maybe even longer than that. I remember when I built this call, it just had a different sound to it. So like, you know, we build them and we build them and we build them. We churn them out. They're all put together by hand here in West Monroe. And every now and then you'll get one that's a little bit different for whatever reason. And that one generally gets set off to the side. So, and it's nothing we did. All the parts are the same, but on a wood duck call, the reason I carry it, let's not kid ourselves, I love to eat them. Like, they're, in my opinion, the best eating duck. So if I'm going to hunt something I want to eat, I want the best eating. So I'm going to carry a wood duck call with me. We get a lot of wood ducks, a lot of migrating wood ducks down here. So they actually respond to a call a little bit better than, say, probably the further north you go where you've got mostly local wood ducks. The further south you come, you get migrators, and they'll work like mallards a lot of times. I say not like mallards. They won't spin, but if you get their attention, they'll just boom. Deal is you've got to make sitting sounds with it, right? So a wood duck on the water, look, growing up in North Louisiana, deer hunting, hunted by around a bunch of beaver ponds. The beaver ponds a lot of times had wood ducks in them, so you become pretty intimate with all the sounds that a wood duck can make. So these are the ones that I'd use to call wood ducks to the decoys. And those are that's just like a little repertoire. This one isn't really about how to call wood ducks. We can do that another day, another time. But those are just kind of the sounds that wood ducks make when they're on the water. It's a lot of you probably are very familiar with the sound of how they make it flying, but I don't want to sound like flying ducks because my decoys are on the water. If I have flying decoys, maybe, but that's not the deal. But I do like keeping a wood duck call on me. Another thing about this call, you can, if you're in a pinch, you can like double it as a speckle belly call. So like if you're a duck hunter that you hunt in the woods a lot, and all of a sudden a buddy invites you to a rice field, if you take your time and practice with this thing, you can make it sound like a speckle belly. Now I would need to adjust the reed in there, move it up a little bit longer because I have really short reed in here. But that's just the deal. So I like to do that. That's one of the calls I carry with me. Another one is a teal call. I get asked about this one a lot. Why teal? Again, they're so good to eat. Like you're gonna notice, like these are for eating. Everything up high is about eating. Speckle bellies, teal, woodies. I love to eat them. So, but a teal doesn't do a whole lot. She's just gonna. But I think where a lot of people mess up is they think that they can take their mallard call and make a teal call out of it. I just am like, if the technology exists to buy a teal call, why wouldn't you just have a teal call? What does it matter? You're talking about adding a couple of ounces to your lanyard, and you're not going to bust your reeds in your mallard call. So when you have to do that to the mallard call, you have to really chinch down the pressure, and you can tear your reeds up. And then it's way harder to get a set of reeds than it's just go buy a teal call. So that's why I carry it with me. The teal just... It's not very loud, pretty soft, and she doesn't do a whole lot, so I really like using this call, even if I'm not seeing a lot, but early in the mornings, if it's kind of dark, if you're hunting in the woods, it gives you like that sound of realism to your decoy spread and all that. So even though if you don't really see the ducks, you've got a little movement on the water, do a little light teal call and do that kind of stuff. So if there are ducks flying by that you can't see, they can hear it pin in on you and then go ahead and come on in the decoys. So I say I use it a lot for trolling. So that way you're not just blowing a mallard call randomly. So if ducks were coming and you didn't see them, you blow them out of the hole and everything else. A great tool to use, and why I keep it on my lanyard, is a whistle. And for those days when ducks act weird, like they don't want a lot of calling, they don't want a lot of anything, the whistle can be what actually finishes the ducks for you. So you can do a lot of things. You can do a mallard drake, you can do a pintail, you can do a teal, you can do a widgeon. If you're so inclined, you can do doves and bobwhite quail and all that kind of stuff too. But I don't know about that. But a lot of times on those cloudy days or still days when the ducks are just really leery, instead of blowing a mallard hen call, a lot of times I'll just to me, that just adds the most realism that you've got, because when you buy decoys, they come in a 6-pack. Most of them are 4 drakes and 2 hens. So why would you not want to have something that mimicked a mallard drake on the water? Like and it's a great tool for kids. Like if you have a kid, somebody doesn't really know what they're doing on a duck call, you can give them a whistle, and then they feel like they're a part of the hunt. So, part of the thing about duck hunting is building a team around you where everybody knows their role. And that's just kind of the deal. That's why, if you look back on like all the old duck commander videos, you can, when Phil's got somebody in the blind with him, he doesn't really care how they call. He'll say, hey, get on them whistles. That also means, hey, take that mallard hen call out of your mouth because it sounds like garbage. That's just his nice way of saying, don't do that. He says it to Si a lot. You do with that information what you will. But I do love Si. He just has to get that running started, his duck call, to make it work. But speckle belly call, I'm not going to blow it because there's no reason to blow our eardrums out inside this room. But I do hunt fields from time to time. I don't hunt them a lot, but a very good call to keep. It's out of the way. It's up here. Doesn't really do anything. But I like to have it with me. I don't like having a lanyard for this and a lanyard for that. I keep one lanyard for everything. So that's the reason it's on here. I don't want to have to go look for it. And now we get into the money makers, so to speak, or the ones that I use the most often. So out of these 3, I'll hold them up here if I can. You can probably tell which one gets the most use. This guy right here. You see how the plastic's discolored? That's because I blow a lot. It has seen a lot of biscuits, a lot of Copenhagen, a lot of Dr. Pepper, a lot of Little Debbie's, everything. That's where all that discoloration comes from. It's all the stuff that you blow through it. But this is my favorite. It's a cut down 2.0 that we make. It is one that actually a few years ago I decided to re-release. We went and retooled some old inserts, but it's a call that basically that I grew up blowing, and now we've made it a little bit better, a little easier to blow. You can see that cut down part on the insert. That right there actually, in today's world, you hear a lot about cut down calls. What they're talking about is actually that cut and that aggression on the back end of the insert. What it does is adds that rasp to a duck call, adds that realism. It puts the duck back in the duck call where, if the typical kind of Arkansas style, the J frame has got kind of that whine. These calls have a lot more rasp to them, which is what I prefer, right? I mean, I like to sound like a real mallard hen. We're not going to go crazy with this one because we're inside, and at this point, you've seen Phil blow a duck call. You've seen Si, Jace, Goblin. They're all really good. You know what they sound like. But I do want to show you the difference. I may even grab one off the table so you can kind of hear the difference between a cut down style versus, that old traditional style with the whine. But it's just got a lot of nasty, nasally. And that's what I like. To me, that's what a mallard hen sounds like. And you're probably wondering why I have 2 of the exact same call. The reason I do is because I've got this one tuned a little bit lighter. So if I need to, if the ducks are acting weird and they really want to have, be called all the way to the decoys, this one I can get just a little bit softer on. So not a whole lot. This one's just got a lot more bark in it. And you do that by cutting reeds and trimming things and playing with things. And this one's an old cut down reacher. It is one of the ones that I learned how to blow on. This one is made for screaming at them and the way I've got it tuned. So on a really windy day, if the ducks don't really seem to be responding to the duck call, I'll break this guy out to try to break them or get their attention. Just the way that I have it tuned. It's just different than these other two. So, you know, we don't hunt a lot of traffic ducks. That's kind of a weird term, but that's what I call running traffic, where you're in like those duck holes like Arkansas public land where there's ducks flying over your head all day, right? You're running traffic. You are blowing your guts out at them. It's not the way we hunt down here. We hunt what I call destination ducks. So we'll let them build into a place and then we'll go in there and hunt them. And then we just keep our eyes on them, put trail cameras out. We do a lot of things to make it where we don't have to bother them while scouting. And so it's just a different style of duck hunting, right? If I'm hunting destination ducks, I don't call a whole lot. I try to have a super realistic decoy spread, not a lot of motion, not a lot of crazy things, but I want them to think that the ducks that have been there are still there. The only difference is there's guys in the woods with shotguns that I don't want them to know nothing about. So that's kind of the no nonsense approach behind my lanyard. If I were designing a lanyard for running traffic, I would change a couple of calls out. I would get rid of a lot of these specialty calls, but it's not really what I do. And so I would say when you build your lanyard, like build it for how you hunt. Don't build it of how my lanyard's built unless you're hunting like me. Build it what suits your style. And you'll ultimately have a better experience because you'll have everything you need. You won't be guessing, do I need this? Do I need that? And by all means, don't put a bunch of stuff on here that you don't know how to use either. Like that's the duck hole ain't the place to learn. That's meant for your truck, for your house, for your back patio. Like, get all that done before you get there, because you don't want to be scaring ducks. We don't get very many opportunities, especially the further south you go. That the opportunities get less and less. So you want to be effective while you're there, and that's why I've put together, for what I do, the ultimate lanyard. One thing you'll notice about my lanyard too, we make wooden duck calls. There's a lot of wooden duck calls around, and you don't see any on here. I don't like wood. I don't know what it is. To me, plastic holds up better. It's way more weather resistant, way more user friendly overall than wood. Wood can be a little temperamental. No matter how good we seal it and stain it and protect it, it's still going to hold a little moisture. So if you get like a super cold day, then all of a sudden it heats up. A lot of times that wood will crack. So I'm just trying to take those variables out of the equation by using plastic or acrylic, or all those types of things. But look, that's what, to me, this is the ultimate lanyard, right? But to you, it may be something else. So drop us a comment. Let us know what's on your lanyard. I truly am interested, because the more you learn, the better you are, right? I'm a nerd. So let us know below, and we'll see y'all next time.